my journey started spring break 2012 in Maui, and little did I know my life was going to hit a major reset. It was something as small as a staph infection that I had gotten on a deep sea fishing trip from a fishhook in the foot. Didn't know about it right away. The next day I was out climbing trees, playing in the surf, but the symptoms in my foot was it was getting burning and itching and red. Later that night, when the EMTs came to check me out, I had a fever of 103, and they were worried that my infection might be turning septic. So they raced me across the island to the ER. My blood pressure was dropping to such a low level that they were going to have to start me on dialysis just to keep me conscious, to keep the medication coming. That night, I slipped into a coma. 12 days later, when I came out of my coma, it was April 2nd, 2 days before my birthday. The first thing I saw were my hands and feet had blackened and purpled. DIC clots the blood and cuts the blood flow off from the extremities, with breathing tubes and feeding tubes down my throat. I couldn't ask questions what was going on, and I was starting to get in a real panic. And this one Hawaiian nurse told me a story how she, each morning, would start at 7 a.m. by opening the curtains to my room and letting the sunlight from Haleakala Crater shine into my room and onto me. And she would sing each morning to the local reggae station. And on this day, Three Little Birds was playing, and she jumped. There was another voice in the room singing Three Little Birds with her, with tubes down my throat and mouth taped closed. I was managing to sing along or moan along in tune to Bob Marley. I found out that I was going to lose 100% of my right hand, 80% of my left fingers, and both of my legs. But music and her story helped me get through the tough parts. On my birthday, using blinking paper, which is when somebody points to a letter and you blink, I was declared stable enough to have the breathing and feeding tubes taken out, and I could be life-flighted to a level 1 trauma center, which was where they could handle the extent of my injuries. On that day when they were boarding me on the plane, it was the first time I had felt sunlight on my face in 2 weeks. They loaded me in the plane, put headphones on because music was such a big part of my recovery at that point. An hour into this flight at 37,000 feet, alarms started going off. I couldn't hear what was going on, but the plane went into a headfirst dive, and the EMTs were putting masks on my mom first, then themselves, and getting seat belted in. And what felt like an eternity to me was probably only a minute, because the plane had lost cabin pressure at 37,000 feet and had to do an emergency dive to 12,000 feet and return to Maui. It really is the strength within you to carry you through the hard parts. I had a physical therapist in Denver who would push me every day to walk a little farther, to push a little harder, and to put myself in those uncomfortable situations, and not to let my disability or my limitations get in my way. And I'll never forget the day she came into my room with wrestling mats to teach me how to fall out of my wheelchair and how to fall out of bed. Your instinct is to put your feet out or your hands, but when everything's amputated, that's a no-no. You're not supposed to do that. Living life as an amputee has taught me new ways of doing things and adapting to a new life. But in that life, I'm finding new friends and new passions, and even doing some of the same sports I used to do. I want to give a shout out to Teton Adaptive Sports here in town. They got me on my first sit ski, mastered that quite quickly. moved up to snowboarding on prosthetic legs. The only problem with prosthetic legs is they get a little sore on the stumps. So to have a long day on the snow, I had a mystery I needed to solve. I went to a week-long ski and adaptive sports event where I met a mentor of mine, Amy Purdy, who taught me how to load my sockets and how to manage my pain throughout the day to have a long day on the snow. I've even had the privilege of becoming a mentor to a young 8-year-old boy in DuBois, Wyoming, who's missing his leg. And he's a young snowboarder, just starting out, but he can already do front flips on his trampoline with his prosthetic leg, and he's looking forward to snowboarding with me this winter. Time has been the greatest gift in my life. It's the most valuable commodity to me, more valuable than gold. Time has given me the possibility of possibilities. Life really is my greatest gift, to have time. And I want to thank all of you for sharing your time with me tonight. And I want to thank my doctors and family and nurses, everyone who pushed to help get me here and give me this time to live. So, thank you.